welcome to day 6 of our 10-day yin yoga journey. We're over halfway through our 10 days now, so I thought it'd be a really nice practice to open up the heart and really take that space into receive. So as always, have your props nearby, and today we will be using a prop that will allow a gentle chest opener. So you might use a bolster, you might use a block, you might use a cushion, just have that handy nearby you. When you're ready, we'll start in at all fours. Finding an all fours position, feel free to pad your knees as well if that feels uncomfortable as we come into melting heart. So if your shoulders feel maybe a bit stiff, you might take a bit of movement first, gently swaying side to side, maybe rounding up the back, a little shuffle there. But if you're ready to, we're going to start to walk those hands forward. As you walk the hands forward, allowing the forehead to rest at the ground, feel free to pop a cushion or block underneath the head. And as we find what may look like puppy pose, and in yin yoga we just call them different names as the approach is different, you might choose to have your hips stacked on top of your knees and allowing that melting of the heart. That might feel too much for your shoulders, so you might sit the hips more back, allowing yourself to melt in here. Releasing any tension through the shoulders. Maybe your arms are bent as the forearms are rested down. Allowing your breath to slow down. Allowing your shoulders to soften of any tension. The invitation to come into yin, you might offer that lengthened breath out. So as we take note of our breath, maybe imagining our breath like the balance of the entire universe, yin and yang. Yang being that of the expansive inhale, and yin being that softening of the exhale, or draw inwards. So you might choose to lengthen the breath out, connecting into that yin energy. And with each breath out, the invitation to offer anywhere that you could soften, release. And for the 3 final breaths, you can choose to stay with your arms extended. You might choose to bring the palms together, hands in prayer, and then bending the elbows. If that feels too much, you can also keep the arms straight out. The last 2 breaths here. Gently take your arms to extend out if you bent the elbows. Guiding yourself up. You might choose to come into all fours. Maybe just have a little wriggle there if movement's what you need. You might choose to lower yourself down onto your front, coming into a crocodile pose where your elbows draw out wide and you might have your face to one side or the forehead resting down onto your hands. Take a moment there to notice what's alive in your body, in the shoulders, in the upper back, chest. As we take our time to then arrive into our next pose, coming into Sphinx Pose, and giving you some options here. You might not use any props, so your forearms placed onto the ground, your elbows might be underneath your shoulders, that might be too much, you might walk the arms forward. You might choose that you would like a deeper back bend, so you might use blocks or 2 cushions, 2 blocks to place underneath, or your bolster underneath your arms to raise yourself higher. You might also choose to wedge that bolster underneath your rib cage, so your arms can relax a bit more. And we're here for 2 minutes. Releasing any tension from the hips, legs, tension from the shoulders, into this gentle back bend. And arriving with our affirmation. I open my heart to receive. I open my heart to receive. Taking your time as we arrive out of the pose, gently releasing from any props that you might have used, and taking your time to come back into crocodile. Again, take a moment, take stock, notice what's alive in your body right now. And as you take your time to guide yourself up, you might take a child's pose, a stretch there. Before we come into our final pose now, setting ourselves up where we'll be using that prop now, if you haven't already. So I'm going to use my bolster, which I'm going to use vertically to place underneath my upper back, mid to upper back and head. You might use a block as well. You can also choose to place that horizontal, entirely up to you. We want to set that at the top of our mat, where we'll then come to lay down onto that prop. So I'm aiming for it to be in my mid to upper back and then onto my head to support my head. If you're using blocks, you might use a block underneath your shoulders, upper back, and then your head. Bringing the palms to face up and the legs to extend out, toes can fall out to the side. Feel free to close your eyes here. As we settle in, I open my heart to receiving. You might have the palms to face up as a sign of receiving as well. You might ask yourself, or check in with that heart space, what could you receive more of today? I open my heart to receive, receiving whatever it is that you're asking for. Allowing the shoulders to settle down, softening the jaw, letting any tension in the legs to soften as well. Surrendering, softening, and your 3 final breaths here. And your next inhale, we'll start to wriggle the fingers, wriggle the toes. You might gently rock the head side to side, inviting more movement in. As we tuck our chin into the chest, using our elbows to guide ourselves up. Option to take yourself to lie on the ground. Option to come up into a comfortable seat. Let's take a moment to receive the benefits of our practice. Notice how our body feels alive, or what sensations are going on in our body right now. And if you will lay down, you might join me in seated, with the palms at the center of the chest. Arriving back into our evening or our day. Inhale, we'll circle the arms up. And exhale, hands down through center, closing our practice. Namaste. Thank you for joining today's practice, and I hope that your upper body feels more open. I hope that you are feeling more open to receive whatever it is that you've asked for. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, day 7. See you then. Bye.